All right, hello there, Dr. Tucker, Melanie, fellow classmates. I'm here to talk to you about my artifact from Practicum. It's this media studies PowerPoint presentation that I created to start off and introduce the media studies unit that I developed for the last week of my class. Just a brief overview, I was teaching in a grade 9 applied English class in Stony Creek, Ontario. And so just to set it up a little bit, we had just come out of reading, doing our novel study, just finished the test. There were mixed reviews of the novel. I think it was a young adult fiction that took place in a largely, homogenous, white, kind of privileged school environment. And it was just a generally angsty teenage kind of drama that played out, and some of the class responded to it and some didn't. So I think I decided to kind of take the media studies unit away from that a little bit. And this PowerPoint, basically for me, the goal was to get the students thinking about how they engage with media in the largely digital world that they're inhabiting, and how they're responding to the advertisements they're being bombarded with. And I really wanted them to understand, the deeper levels and the sub layers to advertisements, and being able to kind of parse through those and understand how those are targeting specific elements of their personalities and specific audiences. So in this PowerPoint here, I sort of started off with some thought-provoking images, obviously the Apple symbols, like getting them to think about the things that they're used to seeing in a different way. This is a clip from the 1980s movie They Live, which has some interesting ideas and proposes a lot of interesting theories on how advertising works and how we consume advertisements in media. And the kids really responded to that, and it opened up a bit of a discussion of, well, how are you interacting with ads online? What kind of ads do you see on Snapchat? Do you think that ads are targeting you specifically, and why, and how maybe that's happening? So that led into this Cambridge Analytica case study about Facebook selling data to large corporations in order to target certain people with advertisements. And then finally, I asked the question, who cares? Why do you think it's important to understand how advertising operates? Is an understanding of that going to help you make more informed decisions? I asked them how they felt about people harnessing this information that they're putting online, and I wanted them to be aware of agencies using this information to influence their decision-making through advertising. And we went on to discuss different advertising techniques and what they thought a successful advertisement would look like. And we talked about, we went through different examples of that. So I think this relates directly to my teaching philosophy, which is, as kids today have increased access to information, they should think very reflexively about how they respond to it, and think very critically. I'm a big supporter of critical engagement when it comes to these things. So I think especially the content and the curriculum becomes truly meaningful when students are able to apply this knowledge in their everyday lives to help them ethically navigate society. So this PowerPoint deals a lot with the ethics of advertisements, and how that works, and how they can think about that when they're engaging with these advertisements in this online space. Finally, I want to connect this to the reading on reflective practice. So I think doing this made me kind of think about, what am I approaching this with? What kind of values systems do I have in place in my life that are going to influence the way that I impart this knowledge to the students? And I brought this up to them, and I thought we had an engaging discussion about what they thought formed their identities, which was also another major theme that we went through in our novel study. What makes you who you are? How do other people see you based on the things that make you who you are? So I wanted the students to think very critically about what life experiences do they bring to class? How does that inform how they absorb information? And how might my life experiences influence how I impart this information to them? And getting them to think critically about that. So I think in this reading, recognizing authority over and responsibility for personal and professional identity, values, actions, and feelings. People learn and develop when happy and benefiting personally, which goes back to my belief statement as well. It's kind of being able to pull apart our identities and think about, okay, well, how are we reacting to this advertisement? And then one of the activities was for the students to pick an advertisement and talk about how it made them feel, why they engaged with it the way they did, and whether they thought it was successful or not. I think in closing, I want to maybe ask questions. How can you, as educators, or as future educators, get your students to think more critically about these things? It could be through, analyzing print ads, different types of mixed media. And I think, how can you get to them on a level that they're going to really react to and engage with? So, for example, I used this Facebook case study, and I was asking the class, what kind of ads are you seeing on Facebook? Do you think these ads are targeting you specifically? And the class responded with, none of us use Facebook. So I was kind of taken aback, but they all use Snapchat and other forms of social media that maybe I don't use. So I think a good question would be how are you going to get to know your students on a level where you can bring examples that are going to really resonate with them? And the way I did that was by choosing lots of different examples, film, clothing, different types of media, and just trying to hit all the bases so that I would reach them through one of these avenues. So that would be my critical question for you guys. Thanks for listening.